So The Crown is back, and it's good again. Thank God, because like I said in another vid, season 5 was shit. Now we get season 6, and it's been pretty good so far. This first half we've been blessed to see. I have a lot of feelings about it. Like, I really do. Like, I was crying a lot. I didn't cry a lot during season 5. I cried a lot during the seasons before that, where what's her name? Who goes Bailey? Which is a disservice to Diana. Fight me. Was playing Diana. Sorry, I really get like this when I start to think about Princess Diana. Um, I get really pensive, honestly, and it's hard for me to describe because I don't really. I have a lot of thoughts about her and her death. I actually remember when she died. I'm old enough to remember that. Children, I was a young child myself. Um, Something happened. I witnessed a lot of things um, when I was a kid. Just not obviously on television. Okay, I was practically raised by television. Okay, but I digress. I'm just saying it in people's behavior after she died, in Americans' behavior after she died. Um, Something I was thinking while I was watching the first half of season 7. I guess it's probably 7A, and then we're gonna have 7B in the next month. Was like, I'm rather conflicted about depicting real people who are still living, still with us, especially depicting them as children. Um, but also when, they are pretty recent past. Like, I I don't know how many videos I can go without bringing up Titanic, but now this isn't going to be one of them. I didn't put it together that Princess Diana died on 31st August 1997 and Titanic came out in December of 1997. Okay? So that actually ended up being kind of a big deal because people were so sad about Diana having died. And then we got probably the best movie ever, ever, a few months after that. It really raised everyone's spirits. But I think I was watching season 4 of The Crown, and a lot of scenes that really kind of just weren't even really emotional or even just that interesting. They were kind of just establishing general plot stuff. Like, a lot of those made me cry. A lot of those made me cry because seeing this woman look so much like Diana, talk so much like Diana, is like frightening. Honestly, I find it frightening. I find it disconcerting. I find it strange, and I also find it very emotional. I guess part of it is like it's very strange seeing someone who looks so much like someone who is no longer with us. I watched this show. I don't even remember what it was called, but there was this actor in it. Don't even know his name, but he looked a lot like a guy I knew and loved who is unfortunately no longer with us. And I loved watching him. It wasn't even intentional, obviously. He just happened to look like this guy, and I was like, love seeing you, dude. Um, I think that another part of it is like, wow, sorry. Something that um, William says in 7A, season 7A, is he's like, why are these people crying about Diana, about my mom? They didn't even know her. I don't remember what Charles's response is, but like usually when people are sad about something like a celebrity death, I'm just gonna go here. Okay, sorry, this isn't any shade thrown towards Diana in any way, but usually when people are really sad about something, about like a celebrity dying, like there's probably a bigger issue or maybe even multiple issues in their lives that they themselves are sad about, or maybe they're just not really that content in their own lives and they're kind of able to hone in on those emotions and pin it all on this celebrity figure that they very much enjoyed dying. And I get that. I do get that. When they show Charles telling the kids that their mother has died, they kind of use this method that I actually do think is a cop out, but as far as like emotions and acting goes, but I would much prefer them to do a cop out than have them actually try to do a take with child actors pretending as if their mothers have died. I don't want that to happen. You know what people still talk about? You know what I've heard multiple people talk about? And I've never heard anyone talk about shit like this in the same way, is like a bunch of people who are a little bit older than me who grew up with either reruns or the actual show on television. They talk about the scene in Little House on the Prairie when Mary wakes up and she is realizing she's blind. Like they're legit traumatized by it. And you can go watch that scene on YouTube right now and look at the comments that say the same thing. This newer season is like um a lot it's focusing a lot more on the tabloids and how they behaved um and that sort of thing. And because it's doing that, that was really what made me like question. I'm like, is this ethical to be depicting? Do we want to be depicting this? Like, is this a good thing to dramatize? Is it? I'm really asking that question. And I've thought about it a little bit, and I would go so far as to say that it actually is. My clock got all messed up after daylight savings time, and now I've finally got her back on track. I would say that it's actually a good thing to depict things that are disturbing to us, or disturbing images that did, disturbing occurrences that did happen, because I think that it not only helps us to process them better, it helps the actors to kind of possibly decipher better what was going on at that point of whatever it is they're depicting. Like, I don't know if y'all have watched the Netflix thing that I'm so sorry, the title is not what I remember. But there was this Netflix special or something called the murder of JonBenet Ramsey or something, or the killing of JonBenet Ramsey. I don't remember, but they had. I think what happened was they were trying to like shoot a movie about it or something, but they ended up only like going through with the auditions and then kind of making a sort of documentary like about the actors and stuff. It was pretty interesting. Why are we so obsessed with tragedy? You know what? We're not really, we are and we aren't obsessed with tragedy. But like, okay. I was listening to this podcast and I now cannot find it. So if this rings any bells for you, like, please tell me what it is, because I don't remember the title and I can't search for it. I just happened upon it. But I listened to a couple episodes, and one that stuck out for it was these two women talking. They were pretty young women. I think they were both in their 20s. They were talking about how, like, they had friendships end. And, like, they were just talking about that whole process and, like, what it's been like for both of them. And I really liked that episode. And then I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I went to go watch another episode. You know, that wasn't, like, all, like, happy stuff. A lot of them, you know, they were trying to be like as, you know, as positive and as kind as they could have been about it. But, you know, it's not always fun to lose friends. It's not really a generally positive subject matter. But then I was like, okay, this is a cool podcast. So I went to go listen to another one of them. And it was basically, the woman just started like listing all these good things that are enjoyable. And I was like, this is fucking boring, and turned it off. And now I can't find it. So the fact of the matter is that we are always going to have difficult things happen in our lives. Like, that's pretty much a guarantee. And when we have difficult things happening in our lives, it's hard for us to overcome them. It's hard for us to move on from them. It's hard for us to process them, etc. You know, and especially when it comes to something like Princess Diana having died, and something like JonBenet Ramsey's murder. Unfortunately, we can't get all the answers. You know, unfortunately, we can't stack up the chain of events from start to finish and be like, okay, this is exactly what happened. There it is. And I think that a lot of people actually find that very appealing, because sometimes you have to draw your own conclusion. You know, you can't just be like, oh yeah, this happened, period. You know, it's way more complicated than that. And I think that people have a real desire for that sort of thing. People loved Diana. People loved her. She was very lovable, honestly. Let's not get it twisted. She was lovable AF, beautiful AF, had great style, was super articulate, super talented in so many ways. She was so entertaining. Obviously, the cameras loved her. That's a thing. He's like, you can love the camera, but the cameras also love you to a degree. You know, it's hard to describe unless you're someone who is on camera or uses camera frequently, but it's a thing, and the camera doesn't love everyone. Sorry, it's just not a trait that everyone has. But you bet your booty she had it. I'm trying to think of other things like this. Oh my fuck. Um, I want to say it was likely required learning for Americans around my age range, probably still today, that if you ever take a Spanish class in public school, you're going to be watching the movie Selena. I think we even watched the special features on that movie in my Spanish class in 7th grade. And one thing that was said was like oh my god. Let me just get emotional again. Selena's family was on set a lot of the time when Jennifer Lopez was, like being Selena and stuff, like on stage for the camera. And like at one point, I think it was her mother, but it might have been her sister. Like, it got to the point where J-Lo was doing a take as Selena, and like the family couldn't even watch anymore because they all just had to like go cry together because they were like, she just looks so much like Selena. I get that, bro. It's rough. It is really rough to lose people you love, even if you didn't know them personally. It's hard. And I think that, like, when these celebrities die, I don't have water. Fuck. When these celebrities die, like, everyone has loss in their life. Everyone. Even if you you personally actually have not experienced the death of a family member or a loved one, like, your parents have, your friends have, your pet died or whatever. And it's hard. And it makes you think of that person. I also have this theory that, like, so when someone dies, when that person no longer has their physical body to express their feelings, right? Because I do still believe that soul still exists and still is on some other form of existence. So when someone dies and other people are, feeling emotions about it, I have a theory that the emotions other people feel about it is the feelings of that person who died. Like, that person who died would have cried as long as you did for them when they died. That person who died didn't want to die. So they have their mourning too, and however long it is, that you're processing these feelings, that's however long that person who passed away is also processing these feelings, I don't want to get too into that because I actually really don't want to get too personal, but yeah. We were all sad. Like, there was such a mood when Princess Diana passed away. And bro, it just sucks. Like, there's nothing else I can say other than it sucks and it's hard. What made me cry in the show, and this is a spoiler, you uncultured swine, I didn't actually love that they had Diana's, like, ghost talking to the people who are still living, but, when Elizabeth Debicki is being Diana, and she's telling the queen, like, you're the one who shows these people, like, what it means to be British, and she was talking about, like, what it means to be British. I was like, fuck. Crying, fam, crying. Y'all, you know what, okay, I gotta say this. I feel like British folks and Europeans in general, okay, hold back their emotions way too fucking much. Like, they're not as comfortable showing emotions in the ways that Americans are. And I'm not saying Americans are perfect, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, y'all are fucking stiff. Your accent really makes way for being stiff. Like, sorry, it's true. It's a fact, mate. Get over it. But anyway, when I do that accent, my throat gets all fucking tight, and I just, like, I literally am more physically tense when I do that accent, and that's saying a lot, because I be tense all the time, okay? So part of this, like I said earlier, of British folks losing Diana is, like, they likely had a lot of emotions surrounding other issues in their lives, and this instance of poor Diana, Princess of Wales, dying got these pent-up emotions out of people. And I think that's a good thing. And I think that was something that needed to happen. And, like, when someone just dies tragically, like, someone famous dies tragically, like, that's tough for people. Okay? It is. I feel like I'm kind of saying the same thing over and over again, but here we are at 23. Listen. When we depict sad things, when we depict upsetting things, when we depict really unfortunate events, it helps us to better overcome them, and it doesn't have to be in the form of filmmaking. You know, it can just be in, like, the form of art, or in a song, or even if you just kind of picture whatever it is in your mind. That helps us to overcome these things. And I hope that you've helped yourself to overcome these things. And if not, like, wait for me, I'm gonna help you.